Impression I've always got from people close to Cody Gakpo is actually quite fancies a change of scenery. He's quite open to this move to Tottenham. There was some talk of Manchester City, but that was quickly.
Cody Gakpo scored on the opening day of the season. A driven finish from outside the box at St James's Park, the kind of goal that reminds you exactly why Liverpool paid £44 million for him in the first place. And yet here we are in the final week of the transfer window, with Tottenham reportedly having agreed personal terms with him, Manchester City making contact with his representatives, and Liverpool fans stuck arguing about whether their club should be trying to keep him at all. That's the contradiction sitting at the centre of this whole situation. A player who keeps producing moments that remind you how good he is, attached to a transfer saga that suggests even his own club isn't entirely sure what he's worth to them going forward. So let's actually get into it. Is Cody Gakpo one of Liverpool's most underrated players, or has the moment finally arrived to cash in while somebody else is willing to pay big for him? Here's why this debate even exists in the first place. On one side, the case for Gakpo practically writes itself. He was a genuine title contributor during Liverpool's championship-winning season under Arne Slot, finishing with 18 goals and 6 assists across all competitions, a goal involvement tally bettered only by Mohamed Salah in that entire squad. He's played left wing, centre forward, and as a false nine at different points, and he's delivered big moments in almost every one of those roles. On the other side, there's a persistent unease. Some supporters think he slows attacks down when he should be driving them. Some question whether he's explosive enough to consistently beat elite fullbacks one-on-one. And some simply believe that with Liverpool needing squad turnover under a new manager, a big offer for Gakpo right now might be too good to turn down. Both of those positions have real evidence behind them. That's exactly why this is worth working through properly instead of just picking a side and shouting about it. Start with what he's actually done, because the stats tell a more complicated story than either camp usually admits. Since arriving from PSV in January 2023, Gakpo has been shuffled across almost every attacking role Liverpool have available. Left wing under Klopp, occasional central striker duties, and a more consistent left-sided role once Slot arrived and built a title-winning system around him. His best statistical output came in that first Slot season when Liverpool won the league and Gakpo was directly involved in nearly 24 goals. Last season was tougher. Results dipped across the whole squad as Liverpool struggled to defend their title, and by his own admission, it was a difficult campaign personally as well as collectively. So the honest question isn't simply has Gakpo underperformed, it's whether a player who's rarely had a single settled job for more than a season at a time has actually been given the stability to prove what his ceiling really is. Now look at what he actually did this summer, because it's more recent and more relevant than people give it credit for. At the 2026 World Cup in North America, Gakpo scored twice in the group stage, both goals coming in a win over Sweden, and he arrived at the tournament as one of the Netherlands' most reliable attacking outlets under Ronald Koeman. Then came the round of 32 against Morocco, and one of the more emotional moments of the entire tournament. Days earlier, Gakpo and his partner had announced the death of their unborn child. He still played, and in the 72nd minute, he won a chase to the ball on the edge of the box and forced a shot through a crowd of bodies to give the Netherlands the lead, sinking to his knees in tears as his teammates surrounded him. It was his third goal of the tournament. Morocco went on to eliminate the Dutch in that same match, ending Netherlands' World Cup on a bitterly disappointing note despite Gakpo's individual contribution. That context matters enormously heading into this club season. Not as an excuse, but as a reminder that whatever frustration or subdued body language fans have picked up on this pre-season could just as easily be tied to something happening away from football altogether, rather than any transfer speculation. So what is Gakpo actually good at when everything clicks? His finishing technique is genuinely elite for a wide forward. That Newcastle goal on opening day, powerful shot first time from range, is not a fluke. It's a shot he's shown the ability to produce repeatedly over several seasons. He's got real physical presence for an attacker of his size, which lets him hold the ball up and bring others into play in ways a smaller, purely explosive winger simply can't. And his link-up play when Liverpool are moving the ball quickly through the middle third has been a consistent source of chance creation, not just individual moments. But here's the uncomfortable part. Gakpo has never fully answered the question of whether he can be devastating rather than just useful against elite, well-organised defences. He's not the kind of winger who regularly leaves a top fullback on the floor in isolation. His decision-making when a chance opens up quickly has occasionally been a half-second slower than the very best forwards in his position, and there's a genuine tactical debate about whether his best role is even out wide at all, given how often he's drifted inside or been used centrally when Liverpool needed a different profile up front. None of that makes him a bad player. It makes him a very good player whose effectiveness depends heavily on the system built around him, which is a much more interesting problem than simply asking whether he's world-class or not. And that brings us to the manager who now has to answer it. Andoni Iraola has come in with a reputation built on intensity, aggressive pressing, and quick vertical transitions, and a very different demand profile to the patient, controlled build-up football Liverpool leaned on for much of the slot era. Iraola has actually been open about experimenting with Gakpo as a central striker, saying publicly that he sees him as capable of playing as a genuine number 9, even while explaining that pre-season limitations around squad depth in wide areas have delayed trying it properly. That's a real signal worth paying attention to. Not proof of anything final, but a manager thinking out loud about unlocking a different version of a player he's inherited, rather than simply working out how to move him on. Iraola's directness could suit Gakpo's underrated physical strengths and finishing ability. It could also expose the exact hesitancy in one-on-one situations that's followed him around for years. Both outcomes are realistic, and neither should be assumed before we've actually seen a settled block of matches under this new system. Now about the noise around his mindset heading into this window. Fans picked up on subdued reactions during pre-season friendlies and discussed his body language following the Newcastle goal. And it's fair to say that speculation about his future has followed him for weeks. But let's be careful here, because a muted celebration proves precisely nothing on its own. Players react differently to different goals for all kinds of ordinary reasons. Fatigue, focus on the scoreline, simple habit. What we can say with more confidence is that the transfer noise around him is real and has been building for weeks, and it's entirely natural that fans start reading into every small moment once that kind of speculation is in the air. That doesn't mean Gakpo is unhappy at Liverpool. It also doesn't mean the noise is baseless. It just means we should be honest about what we actually know versus what we're guessing, and what we actually know about the transfer interest is more concrete than usual gossip. Tottenham have been tracking Gakpo for weeks under new manager Roberto De Zerbi, and multiple reliable reporters, including Fabrizio Romano, have indicated personal terms were already agreed on his side well before deadline week, with an opening bid in the region of £50 million already turned down by Liverpool. Spurs reportedly see him as a central figure in their forward line, potentially even as their long-term number 9. Manchester City's interest arrived later and looks more exploratory. Contact made with his camp to gauge willingness to move, but without direct contact between the clubs as of the most recent reporting, and with City viewed as looking at him partly as competition or backup for their other attacking business this window rather than a guaranteed starter. Liverpool's own position has been reported as conditional rather than fixed, willing to consider a sale, but only if they can bring in adequate attacking reinforcements of their own before the deadline, given how thin their wide options would look without him. So now the real question: should Liverpool sell or should they keep him? The case for selling isn't reckless. His value is genuinely high right now, with two credible suitors driving the price up in the final days of the window. Liverpool's front line has multiple bodies competing for similar roles, and a big fee for a player who's never fully nailed down one position could fund exactly the kind of squad rebuild Iraola's first transfer window is supposed to deliver. If there's no clear defined role waiting for him under the new system, cashing in at close to peak value is a defensible piece of business, not a panic sale. But the case for keeping him is just as strong. He's a proven Premier League title winner with multiple seasons of real goal contribution behind him, not a project or a gamble. He offers genuine versatility across 3 different attacking positions, which matters enormously across a fixture list that now includes Champions League football on top of the league. And there's a reasonable argument that Liverpool have spent years shuffling talented attackers between roles and judging them before they've ever had a settled run in one system, which is precisely the trap that could now play out with a new manager still working out his best structure. The real decision shouldn't just come down to whether Gakpo is good enough. It should come down to whether he's the right long-term fit for whatever Iraola is actually trying to build, and whether Liverpool can genuinely replace his output and versatility if he leaves in the final days of the window. There's also a squad planning angle that shouldn't get lost in all the noise around fees and interest. Liverpool are already reportedly working on incoming wide options, with talks over Bradley Barcola and repeated bids for Brighton's Yankuba Minte, both in motion this same window. If either of those moves lands before Gakpo's situation is resolved, the calculation changes completely. A club with 3 or 4 credible wide forwards can afford to cash in on one of them at a strong price without weakening the group. A club still waiting on those signings to close cannot, no matter how tempting the fee on the table looks. That's arguably the single biggest factor in how this actually plays out, more than anything to do with form, celebrations, or reported interest levels. So here's where this lands. Liverpool should give Gakpo a genuine settled chance under Iraola before treating a big offer as an automatic yes, provided the price isn't so extreme that turning it down would be football malpractice, and provided the club is confident it can bring in proper cover if he stays. This can't be another season of vague promise and shifting roles, though. If he stays, the next few months need to answer the question everyone's been avoiding for 2 years. Is he a genuine first-choice attacker in a title-challenging side, or a very good squad player who's been miscast as more than that? Cody Gakpo isn't the untouchable talent some fans insist Liverpool would be mad to sell. He's also not the limited passenger others are painting him as during a noisy transfer window. He's a genuinely talented, still slightly unresolved player standing at the exact crossroads of his career, and the next block of matches under Iraola may end up deciding more about his Liverpool future than any bid Tottenham or City put on the table this week. What would you do? Keep Cody Gakpo and give him a real chance to settle under Iraola, or sell him now while 2 Premier League clubs are willing to pay big for him? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy honest Liverpool analysis without the blind hype, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more.